So I had a few people reach out to me and they said, Austin, you have to watch哪吒to get ready for哪吒 2, which is in theaters right now. The first one is free on the Roku channel. That's how I watched it. And you know what? I had a good time with it, but I was curious to see what the hype is about this billion, with a B, dollar hype train is all about. The only movie to ever make $1 billion in one country, that is China. I had to see both of these for myself. If you'd like me to review the first one, either on this channel or Burke Reacts, let me know, subscribe, comment, follow. If enough of you support this video, we will do that, but I want to talk about this sequel since it's in theaters right now. It's going to become the highest grossing animated film of all time. Is it worth it?
哪吒，好久不见了，你愿与老夫一同出征否？
差价。
The quick answer is yes. This is worth a big screen experience. I was able to see this earlier today with a large group of people, so fairly popular in the States as well. And let me tell you, the theater was excited. I was fairly blown away by, and we'll start here, the visuals of this film, which I believe in. And granted, I saw this on a big screen. I saw the first at home. The visual upgrade is notable. This is some of the most stunning animation I have ever seen on the big screen. And I'm not just speaking in hyperbole, which is very easy to do when you enter a bubble that you're very new to. It's like when you get invited to a party with the cool kids for the first time. It's like, I've never been here before. Of course, I'm going to be overly excited. So yes, I'm excited to now talk about this movie that so many other people outside of America are talking about. And hopefully more critics, reviewers in America get the chance to see because of those stunning visuals that just are so striking on the big screen. A large portion of this movie features trials that our title character has to overcome, both mentally and physically, to become immortal, but also to have a bit of growth internally. And we see a little bit of that evolution in the beginning, a bit of character growth, right? When our two souls, after what happened at the end of the first film, they're trying to get in their bodies, but for that to happen, there has to be some patience. And as fast-paced as this movie is, there's never really time to sit around, wait around for the next big thing to happen. It just keeps happening. And then we get to the trials that are consistently putting our hero to the test. But while that is happening, there's so much else going on in the background revolving around his parents and some of these other integral characters that eventually leads哪吒to make a decision or two that could change the path that he finds himself on. And this whole thing, both of these movies, it's a massive journey for哪吒to almost overcome this destiny that was thrust upon him. And we see a little bit of that growth here, a little bit of that growth there. But it's not until the end of this movie, within the third act, that we see kind of the culmination of this journey that we've been on. And like I said, some of the trials that he's given here are a little juvenile. One has to do with throwing up. There's also a great gag in there where someone pees in holy water, and I actually found that to be really funny. The humor in both of these films, it's been a little up and down for me. I thought it was much more juvenile in the first movie, but that's okay. It's going to make the kids laugh. And it definitely made the kids laugh in the theater that I was in this film. But I'd say it was fewer and farther in between. We still get that, especially in the beginning when the stakes aren't as high. But then when the stakes become high, when something happens about an hour into the movie that thrusts Nijung into action, when maybe mentally he's not ready for that and he's angry as well. This kind of becomes a revenge tale of sorts halfway through this movie, and we get some incredible action scenes from that. But all throughout this, like the final trial, amazing. There's a character that travels via electric current, and he travels through the water, and we get to see an underwater battle between these two characters. And oh my God, man, the way that they moved, I was frankly in awe, because with American animation, we see that somewhat, like a Kung Fu Panda or a Spider-Verse. We get some great action scenes, but I've never really seen it constructed in this way, where the animation will slow down and we get to really focus on the punches and kicks and then the powers that are utilized all throughout, especially when we get to that third act and there's a final epic battle in this movie that, for fans of this franchise or these two movies, there was a spinoff apparently, at one point. I don't know where that is. I didn't watch it. But fans will feel similarly to this as maybe I did in Avengers Endgame. It's that level of battle. It's that caliber of action series of sequences that are just amazing. But all throughout this, you get such stunning animation, from mountains crumbling to lava flowing out of the sky to what's constructed towards the beginning of this film, and kind of the base. Naja's parents are the characters that carry over from the first. You just don't really know who you can and can't trust, the people that you believe, or the spirits that you believe you can trust. You're unsure of how to even handle all of this emotionally, because it's so visually, it's so much emotionally. And I didn't think I was getting this emotionally attached to some of these characters. Our title character, yes, but some of these side characters as well. And there's a scene, and I'm not going to say who, but we'll say one family member is mourning the loss of another family member, holding them in their arms, and then they travel to a different family member, trying to avoid spoilers here, to ultimately be consoled by him, which is what causes devastation to happen, and that kind of gets Naja riled up, right? With that entire sequence, we're not supposed to care. Normally, with a movie like this, we don't care as much for the villainous or the evil side of things. But with these characters, the lines between good and evil are blurred so much. I care about the family members of people and souls that we are supposed to hate, because they are such well-written characters. How often do you get that in animation? And everything that spawns from this lore, and the idea of philosophy and religion, and, you know, even in the beginning we see two souls in one body, these gods, these creatures, these mystical beings, and man, I love seeing things like this come to life. It's almost that Lord of the Rings feeling, where everything you're watching, this journey, this solo journey that we're on, is epic. But then you have these 2 or 3 other subplots of his parents, and, okay, do we care about our villain? Do we not care? We'll go over to some rock spirit who's trying to get her magical mirror to tell her that she's pretty. It's just, some of this is so random, but it all fits in and ties in. Like, I was never lost. Being so new to this franchise, I was never confused as to where we were or where we were going. And then ultimately, the form of payoff that we get here, as a now fan of this franchise, is as good as you could imagine. Now, for those of you going in blind, it is animated. It is definitely a movie that children will enjoy. I'd say on the younger side, be careful, because we are dealing with death. There's a scene where an entire area was decimated and you see charred remains of people. I don't know the age range. You'll know better than me for your child, but that was scarring for me, getting emotional, right? This movie continues to emotionally stir you as a fan, so just watch out, right? But it is one mostly for the family that you can go and enjoy and giggle at, laugh at. You know, my complaints include a little bit of that humor, the bits that I wasn't on board with. Sometimes they'll go on for a while. I'm not laughing. It's fine. Let's move on to the next thing. And honestly, I do believe this is too long. The trials that he goes through to build his character, and they are important, that series of scenes lasts a little longer than I needed it to. I did not need this movie to be over or way over 2 hours like it was. All in all, it didn't really matter, because you get the payoff. The pacing doesn't occasionally match the emotional highs, the emotionally stirring moments, the gorgeous, stunning, incredible animation. If that would have tightened up a bit more, we would have been talking about, like, one of my favorite animated movies of all time. But this is definitely up there. Like, this was an experience that I'm so glad you all recommended, and so hopefully you all join me on my journey to go and watch the first one. Maybe go and find the spin-off. I would love to do all of those things. If you follow me, if you comment, you want to comment on this video, that would be amazing. And share this review. I want to get the word out to other critics, so if you all share this video, that would help. Najà 2 is surprisingly epic on every level, featuring stunning animation and a level of payoff in the third act that makes this overly long journey worth it. It leans into the darkness of its ideas while occasionally showcasing a sophomoric sense of humor. This is one that must be seen on the biggest screen possible. There is an emotional impact here that is hard to replicate or even put to words. I haven't seen anything like this in quite some time. On the big screen, I've seen things like this. Lord of the Rings, Game of Thrones, something extremely epic. I mentioned Avengers Endgame. But in animated form, like you think of your Kung Fu Pandas diving into lore like this, but there's something about this Chinese animation that is so distinct that I loved. Thank you all for watching this video. Stay tuned, more reviews this week, and I'm talking The Monkey tomorrow.